Hello, Shortcuts. Here we have video 2 for December 13th. Price list will go out 9 p.m. Sydney time. This list is funk, reggae, dub, jazz, and some blues. Although funky blues. I'm going to start with one of my all-time favorite female artists, and I've got her records, and so this compilation that I'm about to show you is kind of surplus to requirements. But don't let that put you off. This is one of the best compilation albums you will ever hear. This is Betty Davis. This is it. Betty Davis, by all accounts, grew up just loving music and style. She met Hendrix when she was younger, coming up through, but of course, most famously, she met and married Miles Davis. Just as Miles Davis was moving from his jazz period into his rock fusion period, her face is on the cover of File du Kilimanjaro, probably the last straight jazz record that Miles Davis ever made. And she met him at the time that he was recording the Nickel Creek concerts that became a series of live albums. And as he transitioned into Bitches Brew and others, his style changed. These incredible gold and fur jackets, this trilby caps, and just became quite wild looking, wildly different, and a lot of that can be accredited to his time with Betty. In the 70s, early to mid 70s, she went on to make three of, in my mind, the best records of the 70s. Her debut album, which was her self-titled, that was in 73. I've got some notes here. Then They Say I'm Different in 74, and my favorite, Nasty Gal, in 75. I've had Nasty Gal on this list, the Japanese first press, quite some time ago. These records are getting ridiculously hard to find, and this, over the course of two really nicely pressed records, collates 16 of the best tracks from those three records in order. So you get track one, side one, If I'm in Luck, I Might Get Picked Up, which is so Betty Davis. Anti-love song, They Say I'm Different, the ballad that she co-wrote with Miles Davis, You and I, is on here, which is amazing. The title track of Nasty Gal is on here. One of my favorites from They Say I'm Different, Don't Call Me No Tramp, is on there. It's great. Pressed on, I think it was originally from 2005 on two records on this beautiful label. If you ever see any records from this label, Vamp Soul, look at that. They're great. Really interesting choice of sleeve, and the notes on the back are really fine as well. Never seen that before. As I said, surplus requirements, and I think it's rather wonderful. Now I've got three kind of soul funk blues records in a row, all male singers. I'm going to kind of do them in order of, oh my gosh, no, I don't know if I can do them in order of my personal preference. I really like all three. I'm going to start with this one. I love the title track of this. This is called Love Can Be Found Anywhere, Even in a Guitar. This is a 1968 Japanese first press from Albert Collins. Just take in that sleeve. It's so cool. And there he is on the back. This is the first of a series of records that Albert Collins recorded with the Liberty label, where he really quite proactively merged blues and funk together. So you have some instrumentals, but not just, any old funk. Kind of think New Orleans funk. Think the Meters. In fact, one of the songs mentions Sissy, and Sissy Strut, of course, was a just phenomenal song by the Meters. This has got some really cool tunes. Stump Poker is one of my favorites. The Collins mix is one of the kind of funk guitar workouts. If you're an Albert Collins fan and you like blues funk, and even if you like amazing sleeves, that's a cool record. But these two are just as good. This is maybe Clarence Carter's greatest record. But I'm going to show you the label first. It's unusual. It's the blue and white Atlantic label. This is a 1960. The reason it's blue and white because it's a promo. So the promo from 1968 of this record. Clarence Carter, Testifying. There's no inserts on these. So these are early 60s Japanese records. Before the practice became more about inserts, they kind of printed the songs on the sleeve in Japanese and in English on the label, so you can tell what's what. But this is really lovely. So there's the insert is actually in the record. Again, part of what was the older style, and then you can see, as always, the lyrics. Now, Clarence Carter is one of the great proponents of Southern soul, and I would argue that this Atlantic record is probably his best. There are a number of highlights, but I think the one that I get drawn to the most is Backdoor Santa, where Clarence compares the fact that St. Nicholas only comes to this particular house once a year, but Clarence likes to go to this particular house through the back door more often than that to indulge in some nefarious business. And he's very proud of himself. But it also has some really, really good slow jams. But the slow jams on this are not in the same league as the slow jams on this record, which was recorded on the Mercury label, one of the great records by Shortcuts legend William Bell. William Bell's Phases of Reality is one of my favorite records of all time. I think William Bell is in the top echelon of vocalists ever. This sleeve, I cannot tell if this is truly awkward and weird or kind of genius. I really am on the fence on it. Look at it on the back too. Anyway, what is without question though, I am not on the fence on how awesome this record is. To quote one of the most word salad songs I have ever heard, but he still makes it work. I absolutely, positively love this. If you get this record, you'll know why I said that. It's such a good record. Oh, it's so good. I really hope someone grabs this one and comes back to me and lets me know what they think, because I bloody love that record. But then I am fully paired up, stock, bought in William Bell. Not quite Southern Soul, so not quite the guitar and horns driven soul of Clarence Carter. It is more string and orchestration. So it's got more drama as opposed to more sweat. Clarence Carter is big and loud and sweaty, as is Albert Collins. But William Bell kind of rises above the fray. He's, yeah, well, you know. He wears a trilby and smokes a pipe. Okay. I've got three, is it two or three? Three reggae dub records that are all quite different that I'd like to talk about, and all of these will be available on Wednesday. The first is the Revolutionaries Outlaw Dub on the Trojan label from 1979. So, why do I love this record? Well, firstly, it features Sly Dunbar, who I think is one of the great reggae musicians of all time. Secondly, it was written and produced by Linval Thompson, who kind of led the charge on, in some respects, with Lee Scratch Perry, and we'll come back to him in a minute, on that echoey, spacey noise that the dub became off the back of predominantly roots reggae. This is the first dub record I ever heard. And it was kind of my gateway drug to the Upsetters and Super Ape and some of the other things that I'm about to show you. And so I've got a lot of time for this record. I think it's very playful. It's 79, so it's pretty early in the dub space, and it's a bit of a lost classic. And I love the sleeve as well. The sleeve is really cool. Look at that. Can you see the outline of the face? I think that's Linval Thompson. But look, what's that rope signify? Yeah, it's pretty interesting. There's not a lot out there about this record. I looked up some reviews and things. Of course, you've got a small kind of hardcore group who love this type of rebel music, and it mixes some pretty strident positions with some very fun music, and so that's why it's there. And I thought, well, if I'm going to put some Linval Thompson, I got to put a Lee Scratch Perry up, and the one I've chosen is this. This is a UK record from 2011. Lee Scratch Perry's home studio infamously burned down in, I think it was like 79 or 80. And really, if you're a Lee Scratch Perry fan, everything that was truly genius about what he did was in the 70s. After that happened, when he was on his own, he tended to be very indulgent, and I don't have any real record. I don't have many records post kind of 79, 80 featuring Lee Scratch Perry. Just doesn't do it for me. With an exception. And the exception is when he was working with this guy called Adrian Sherwood, who was a British producer, and they found a way to bounce off each other. And this particular record is one of their highlights. It's a double LP, and it's called, if you can see that, New Sound. And just under that, New Sound presents Lee Scratch Perry New Sound and Version. So what they did was they took some of his greatest 70s records and reimagined them in kind of a more modern dub setting. But they also took classic songs from the 70s and really messed around with them. You know, even songs like, let's see, Iron Man from Black Sabbath gets the Lee Scratch Perry and Adrian Sherwood treatment. And it becomes a wildly different experience to Ozzy Osbourne yelling and Tony Iommi riffing. You got lots of guest stars, the likes of Congo and Natty, Adrian Sherwood himself appears on here, the Moody Boys, others from the UK reggae scene in particular. It's double LP, pretty hard to find. I know it's not a mainstream record, but that's the point at least. This worth exploring. New Sound and Version, Lee Scratch Perry with Adrian Sherwood. And then finally in the reggae selection, I've chosen this record just because it's one of my favourites. So Handsworth Revolution. Handsworth is an area of Birmingham, and that area of Birmingham sprang up one of the great reggae groups, Steel Pulse. Steel Pulse went on to win the very first Grammy for Reggae Album of the Year, Reggae Act of the Year, and they're wonderful. And that's their debut album, and I would suggest it is their best. And then finally, man, I've had a copy of this on my shelf for about 5 years, and I could not find another until recently. This is Sittin' In, featuring Dizzy Gillespie, Stan Getz, Coleman Hawkins, and Paul Gonzalez. Dizzy on trumpet, Stan Getz and Paul Gonzalez, and Coleman Hawkins on tenor sax, Wynton Kelly on piano, Wendell Marshall on bass, and Jesse Hurd on drums. This was a sit-in session on July 4th weekend of 1957. 7 of the greatest jazz musicians of the era just letting it all hang out. And look at that sleeve. On a Sunday afternoon, you put this record on and you feel like you're the coolest person in the room. So there you have it. Jazz, reggae, dub, soul, blues, funk. List 2 for the final shortcuts list of 2023. I'll see you on email on Wednesday, and then there'll be a bit of radio silence from me as I'm going on holiday. But as always, if you watch the video, if you like it, leave me a comment. If there's anything I can do better, let me know. Thank you all. If you've made it this far, have a wonderful week, and I'll see you on Wednesday.